Thank you, David, so much. And thank you, Mr. Sinan. And thank you to your wonderful team and staff and all of you for having me. Thank you, Razvan and Class Park, for helping to get us all connected. It's great to be here with you all. Now, raise your hand if you're interested in having an awesome life. Yeah, right? Raise your hand if you're interested in being the best person you can possibly be. Anyone here? Raise your hand if you're interested in being a leader. I'm very impressed. Well, I am going to teach you two tools today to help you do all of those things. And they're two very simple tools, but if you do them and you practice what I'm here to teach you, it will change your life for the rest of your life. Does that sound interesting to you? Yeah? Okay. Well, like David said, I'm from the U.S. Anyone ever been to the U.S. before? Just curious? Couple? Nice. Great. I know you guys have 40 nationalities here, which is so cool. And I'm from the U.S., and usually what I do is I talk with business leaders. Any of you going to someday run a business? How many of you want to start your own business? Oh, I love seeing all these hands. I love seeing the growth. So I started my business when I was 21 years old. There you go. I want to hear all about your business afterwards, okay? I want to hear what you're going to do, all right? It's a plan. So I started my business, as David said, to help bring more freedom to companies. But guess what? That also relates to freedom in your life. And very briefly, I teach this model called Freedom at Work. And Freedom at Work has 3 parts to it. It's about having a freedom-centered mindset, leading from a place of freedom rather than fear, and then designing your workplace to operate using freedom rather than fear. But today we're going to talk about 2 of these 3 things. How to have a freedom-centered rather than fear-based mindset, and how to lead yourself and others from a place of freedom rather than fear. All right, so let's start off talking about how do you cultivate a freedom-centered mindset? Well, you might not realize this, but most of the time we are thinking from a place of fear. Has anyone ever felt afraid? Right? I heard one person say no, but I'm sure the rest of us have all felt fear. Well, what the research tells us is that the average person thinks about 60,000 thoughts a day. 60,000 thoughts. And 80% of those thoughts and 95% of those thoughts are the exact same thoughts that we thought the day before. And of those thoughts, 80% are negative and fear-based. Anyone ever had a negative and fear-based thought before? Yeah, we all have, right? So fear, we typically don't go around saying we're afraid, but has anyone ever said, I feel stressed out? You've got some exams coming up, I think. Yeah? Anyone feel some stress over your exams? Anyone feel a little anxious about what they're going to do after they graduate? Yeah, it's okay. You can admit it. All right? Anyone ever feel angry, pissed off, frustrated? Right? We've all felt those things. And what's underneath all of that is actually fear. But sometimes we don't realize it's fear. And we cover up this fear with certain masks that we wear, okay? Let's talk about what some of these, what I call the 7 masks of fear. See if you've ever worn any of these masks when you were feeling afraid, okay? The first mask of fear is stress. Anyone ever wear this mask? Yep, maybe once or twice, right? The second mask of fear is the angry mask. Have you ever gotten upset and angry about something, but you knew deep down you were kind of afraid of what might happen? Okay, yeah. The third mask is the silent mask. How many of you, when you're super angry or pissed off or afraid, you just get really quiet? Anyone do that? Yeah, right? Exactly. The hate mask. Yeah, when we're hating, when we're hating ourselves, or when we're hating others, what motivates that is fear. What motivates that hate is fear. How about the controlling mask? Do any of you ever try to control everything? I just saw someone hit his friend. Yeah, you try to control, buddy. Okay, the controlling mask. The fifth mask is the defensive mask. Has anyone ever been defensive, really defensive about something? Yeah, thank you for your honesty. Yeah. And the last mask is the bully mask. Has anyone ever seen or experienced bullying before? Yeah, okay. So what's underneath that is fear. Did you know that? What's underneath that is fear? Yeah, what's underneath that is fear. I can see that we've hit on an important one. All right, so there's a way to handle this fear. There's a 5-step process, 5 questions that you can ask yourself to handle fear. And I'm going to teach you this method right now. It's called the power question method, the power question method. And the way that I developed this was that when I was out of college, I was living in Washington, D.C. I had just started my business. I was a full-time graduate student. I was working for the NASDAQ stock market, and I was traveling all over the world. I had a crazy busy schedule. And one day, I called up a mentor of mine, and I told her all of my problems and all of my worries and all of my concerns. And she got very quiet, and she said one thing to me. Traci, what would you do if you weren't afraid? What would you do? How would you solve your problems? What conversation would you have? What action would you take if you weren't afraid? And I realized how much I had been operating from a place of fear. And I didn't even realize it. I didn't even realize it. So I call this the power question. The power question, because when you're in fear, are you in your power? No, you're not. You're out of your power. You're being controlled by fear. And when we're controlled by fear, guess what? The peripheries of our brain shut down. This is proven research. And we get tunnel vision. We actually become dumber when we're in a state of fear. So if you're going in to take an exam and you're in fear, do you think that's going to help you do well on that exam? No. If you're having to make big decisions about what you're going to do after you finish school here and you're in fear, do you think you're going to make a good decision? No. Let's say you're trying to figure out, should I date that guy? Should I date that girl? What should I do? And you're in fear making your decision. Are you gonna end up making a good choice on relationships? Probably not, huh? So, I'm going to teach you a tool for how to handle this. Okay, you guys all have a worksheet called the power question right at the top. Do you see that one? All righty. We're going to take it step by step. Everybody got a pencil or a pen? You good? Raise your hand if you don't have a pencil or a pen. Okay, do you think you can find one? All right, you're good. All right. All right, you guys ready? All right, do you have a pen? Do you have a pencil up there? All right, there we go. Thanks for sharing. Awesome. You've got it all. You've got it all, girlfriend. All right. Are we ready to listen now? Great. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to think of a challenge that you're facing at school or at home, okay? I want you to think of a challenge. Maybe you're stressed out about a test. Maybe you're not getting along well with your brother or sister or mom and dad. Maybe you're stressed out about a boyfriend or girlfriend issue. I want you to jot at the top a challenge that you're facing. Okay, just jot down a few words. A challenge that you're facing. Go ahead, I'm going to give you 30 seconds to do that. Go. And I'd love to have silence while you work on this. Good job. All right, you guys up there, do you have a challenge? Can you think of a challenge that you're dealing with? Great, go ahead and jot it down. Okay? Once you've thought of your challenge, I want you to go thumbs up. Just thumbs up. You could do it low, just right in front of let me see where people are. Just hold your thumb up. Once you've thought of your challenge, just go ahead and put your thumb up. Thank you. You can keep it up just so I can see. There's a lot of talking over here. Do you have a question? Okay. You got it. Give me a thumbs up when you've got your challenge that you're going to think about figured out. So it could be something to do with school or something at home. All right. Looks like most of you have the challenge. Now, you ready for your first question? You see it there. I want you to think about, what are you afraid of with this challenge? What are you afraid of? What are you afraid that might happen? Are you afraid that if you have a conversation, if you tell your parents what you really want to do with your life, they're going to get mad at you? Are you afraid to hurt your boyfriend or girlfriend if you break up with them? Are you afraid what will happen if you don't get straight A's? Okay? So what are you afraid of? Now, you guys, I'm hearing a lot of talking. And I'd like you to be quiet while you work on this, please. And if you have a question, raise your hand, and I can come to you, or my colleague can come to you. But I'd like you to quietly think about this on your own. And I know sometimes fear feels really weird to think about, because fear doesn't want you to notice it. Fear wants to be ignored, doesn't it? And when you start to look at fear, it puts you back in your power. So what are you afraid of with this challenge? Are you afraid of failure? Are you afraid of what others will think of you? Are you afraid of not being good enough? All right, when you've got your answer, give me a thumbs up. Awesome. I see some great participation happening. I'm so impressed. Well done. Let's go to that second question. Ready? Why are you afraid? Why are you afraid? Take a moment and think about it. Maybe you're afraid because of something that happened in the past. There you go. Maybe you're afraid because you're thinking about what might happen in the future. Maybe you're afraid of hurting someone or hurting yourself. Maybe you're afraid because someone taught you to be afraid. Okay? So think for a minute about, why are you afraid? Get really clear. Why are you afraid? Are you afraid of what's happened in the past? What might happen in the future? Why are you afraid? And once you're done, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. I see a thumbs down. Does that mean you need more time? Oh, you guys are rock stars. Okay, are we ready for the third question? All right, the third question is the power question. Ready? What would you do? How would you solve that problem if you weren't afraid? If you weren't afraid, what would you do? What conversation would you have? What action would you take? How would you think differently? How would you think differently about someone else or about yourself if you weren't afraid? What would you do if you did not have that fear? If fear wasn't controlling you? What would you do if you weren't afraid? Write down your thoughts. I see some of you working really hard on this. Thank you. Great work over here. And I see some great work happening down here too. Impressive. We've got a great group of students in the middle here paying awesome attention, especially you. Yeah, definitely you. Okay, what would you do if you weren't afraid? This is your moment. Think through. How are you going to break through this fear? What would you do? What would you say? What action would you take? What dream would you have if you weren't afraid? Once you're done, give me a thumbs up. We'll take a few more minutes. We'll take another minute here. Go ahead. Don't rush this. I see great thinking happening. I see breakthroughs happening. I see future leaders breaking through fear, breaking through limitations. Okay. Thumbs up when you're done. Let me just see where everyone is right now. Thumbs up. Okay. All right. Let's go to our next question. The fourth question is, how would you feel without the fear? How would you feel? Would you feel happier? Would you feel more peaceful? Would you take action? How would you feel? Write down a few words. How would you feel without that fear? I know when I do this, once I get to that question, I always feel like, I would finally feel peaceful and rested and energized. I see awesome work happening down here. Great job, you guys. Great job. All right, thumbs up if you got a couple words done. Thumbs up. Got a couple words down there? Good. Good. Okay, last question. Why is it okay to let the fear go? Oh. Why can you let it go? Can you let it go because if you're like me, you're a very spiritual person and you know that the universe, God, has your back? Or can you let it go because you know from experience it's going to be okay? Or can you let it go because there's someone you trust who's going to help you work through that fear? Why can you let it go? Why is it okay to let it go? Go ahead and jot down your thoughts on that, okay? Go ahead and jot down your thoughts. Why can you let it go? I can see everything from up here. Why can you let it go? Why is it okay for fear to stop controlling you? You can't lead, you can't be your full potential. You can't be all those things. You can fall off your chair, but you all told me you wanted to be leaders. When you're leading, do you think you have fear? Thanks for listening, I appreciate it. When you're leading, do you have fear? Do you think you have fear when you lead? What do you think? Over here. When you're a leader, do you think you ever have fear? Yeah? If you're going to build a company, do you think you have to deal with fear? Do you think your employees ever get afraid? Okay. How are you going to handle your fear? How are you going to help your employees handle their fear? All right, does everyone have an answer to that last question? Okay. Now, I'm going to ask you to do something, but you need to make a promise to me. Okay? When I say welcome back, you're going to get quiet fast, okay? All right. Ready? I want you to turn to a partner, and to the degree that you feel comfortable, share your challenge and share your answer to the power question, okay? Go. I'm seeing awesome partnerships happening. And I'm seeing some of you who don't know what to do. Raise your hand if you don't have a partner. All right, in this middle section, I'm not seeing conversation. You guys got it going on? Ladies, do you have a partner okay? Do you want to turn behind you? Are you guys the partners? Okay, welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Is there anyone, and let me say it this way, how many of you found an answer to what would I do if I weren't afraid? How many of you found an answer to that question? A legitimate, good, breakthrough answer. Okay, many of you did. Wonderful. Of those of you who raised their hand, who found the answer, do I have someone who'd be willing to briefly share their challenge and their answer to what they would do if they weren't afraid? Anybody fearless enough? Yeah? Yeah? Do you want to? Okay. Do you have a good one? All right then. Do you want a microphone? You want to come down here? I have heels. Okay, you can project. You want to jump up? Stand up? Okay, go ahead. Briefly just say your challenge and then what would you do if you weren't afraid? Oh, here you go, honey. Okay.
Thank you.
You've got this.
So, issues in my school life. Because I got low marks.
Mm-hmm.
So, what I would do if I wasn't afraid, I would try to get better grades. But now I'm scared because what if I fail still?
But I love what you said. You would keep trying, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Good for you. Let's give her a hand. Let's give her a hand. Good, good, good. Someone else like to share? That was awesome. Thank you. Somebody else want to share? I promise you that the fear that you have, most of us have. Can I have one more person share? One more? Yes, over here. Great. We're going to have Andreas running. Sorry. Thank you. Oh, we'll come back to you. Okay. Hold on. Okay. Good. Okay, we're going to hit one over here, and then we're coming to you. All right? Go ahead. Go ahead and stand on up. Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
So, I think I'll actually contradict this question. I think fear is necessary to motivate you.
Do you?
I'd say
a lot
that
of people think that.
Fear actually motivates us more than the success, that thinking about the success, that will motivate us. So I don't think it's okay at all to let go of fear.
Well, you let me know how that goes. You know, a lot of people think that. A lot of people think, young man, a lot of people think that fear is a motivator. But what the brain research tells us is that when we're in fear, it actually makes us dumb and stupid. And it's not a motivator. And what should motivate us is purpose and service to others. That's the best long-term motivator. So thanks for sharing your point of view. Do you have an answer to the power question? Great. I think he wants to bring you a mic.
So my challenge is that...
Go ahead and stand up. Yeah.
Do I really need to? Okay.
Go ahead.
My challenge is that I'm afraid of the uncertainty of my future.
Yeah.
And I'm afraid of failure.
Yeah.
To a certain level, I agree with what Ali said. With me, it works with stress, not necessarily with fear. I consider that it's good to have a certain amount of stress because it motivates you to do more, to improve yourself, and not to be okay with what you're doing now, with your results. Always want to do more. So I'm halfway through what you say and what Ali said. Yeah.
But you didn't tell me your answer to the power question. What would you do if you weren't afraid?
I'll probably do all the things that I can for my future better. I'll learn, I'll study easier
There you
because
go.
I'll let my stress and my fear away, probably.
That might make you a better student when you let go of that fear.
Maybe.
Give her a hand. Give her a hand. Well, I think you will find that fear is a very costly friend. And if you decide to be friends with fear in your life, it will end up costing you. You don't make as good as decisions. You're not able to connect with people. And you're not able to fully live your purpose in life when you're coming from a place of fear. So I hope you will take this tool and consider addressing fear as it comes up in your life and helping your siblings and your friends, your boyfriends, your girlfriends, maybe even your parents when they're dealing with fear. Now, I had another worksheet for you, and I don't think we're going to have time to get to it, but I hope that you will think about it. And I want to just briefly talk about the first question on this worksheet, which is about self-worth. And self-worth is about loving who you are. And most of the time I find that people don't love who they are. And they have negative voices in their heads that tell them they're never good enough. They're not tall enough. They're not skinny enough. They don't look a certain way. They don't have enough money. They don't have enough brands. They don't have enough good grades. And all of that can take away from our sense of self-worth and understanding how valuable we are. I appreciate how you all are listening. So I want you to look at that first question. On a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the highest, how would you rate your level of self-worth? How much do you love yourself? How much do you like yourself? Go ahead and, you don't have to tell me, put down the number if you would. Put down your number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Put down your number. No one has to see this number but you. Raise your hand when you have your number. When you got your number, raise your hand. And don't do, 6.5. Pick a number. Okay? Round up if you have to. Everyone's like, dang, I gave myself a half. All right. Do you have a number? Okay. Everybody hands in the air. Hand up high, everyone, please. I can see if you don't have your hand up, I can see everything up here. Hand up. In the middle section. Hand up. Hand up high to the sky. Okay, shut your eyes. Hand up, shut your eyes. Leave your hand up if you gave yourself a 4 or higher. 4 or higher. 4 or higher, leave your hand up. Leave your hand up if you gave yourself a 5 or higher. 6 or higher. Leave your hand up if you gave yourself a 7 or higher. Eyes closed. 8 or higher. 9 or higher. Keep your hand up if a 10. Good. Hands down, eyes open. So, the thing about self-worth is the way we feel about ourselves impacts the way we live our life. And when we don't love ourselves, we can spend our life trying to get love from outside ourselves. And that leads to a lot of destructive behaviors in life. When you love yourself, do you want to commit suicide? Seeing if you're paying attention. If you love yourself, do you want to go run and do drugs? If you love yourself, are you going to sabotage your success at school? No, right? If you love yourself, you do things that help you move forward in life. But guess what? I was giving a speech to 100 CEOs recently. And I asked those 100 leaders, CEOs, you guys know what CEOs are, top leaders. I said to them, how many of you gave yourself an 8 or higher? I consider an 8 or higher as kind of the high self-worth zone, okay? How many of you gave yourself an 8 or higher? And of those 100 CEOs, only 3 people raised their hand. Most people struggle to love themselves. But the one thing I want to end by telling you today is this. I don't care what score you gave yourself. Each and every one of you is a 10. Each and every one of you is infinitely valuable and has infinite worth. And it doesn't matter what your grades are. It doesn't matter what home life is like. It doesn't matter where you go to school or not. You have value and worth. And you're a 10. And I hope you'll always remember that. Thank you.